All right, well, we are live on YouTube. So welcome on YouTube. And I'm going to hit record and we will get this party started. Turn the volume down there. All right. All right, hello and welcome to this complimentary training. I'm Chris Badgett from LifterLMS and I have a very special guest. His name is Zach Katz. He's from Gravity View, which in a nutshell allows you to display your form entries, your Gravity form entries in creative ways on the front end of the website to solve your whatever kind of what you actually want to do with the data, which is a big part of a learning management system. We're often collecting data from people, whether it's some kind of certification or coaching or personal development, self-study thing. There's a lot of different ways that data comes in as part of the training, or even just allowing people to easily submit testimonials and display on the front end, or if you want to customize the student dashboard and have people be slowly building something or updating something and have that data displaying. Super excited about it. Before we go any deeper, Zach, welcome to the call.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everybody. Hi, LifterLMS world.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm stoked that we are now in the same time zone. So that's
Yeah.
cool. And so congratulations on your move. And so we are recording this. There will be a replay. This will go up forever in the LifterLMS webinar area. If you're not sure where that is, we'll put a link to that in the chat. But we've been doing these complimentary trainings for about 3 or 4 years now. And I like to bring in smart folks who have a ton of value to add to the course creation community. So Zach was a great person for that, especially in that, you know, a lot of you are already using Gravity Forms. And one of the reasons I personally use Gravity Forms, it's just, I've been around WordPress a long time. Gravity Forms is like the original. I don't know if it's the original, but it was definitely the most popular form plugin, and it has the most integration. So there's people like Zach building cool tools on top of it, which is what's kept me in the Gravity Forms ecosystem for, I don't know how many years now, 9, 10, 8, something like that. It's been a long time. So welcome to the call. We are going to be doing a giveaway. So stay to the end. We're giving away a LifterLMS license, $99 value 1 year. If you're already a customer and you win, don't worry about it. We're going to hook you up with that value in a different way. So stick around. This is also interactive. Use the chat box. We'll be keeping an eye on that. If you're watching on the live stream on YouTube, go ahead and drop a comment below the YouTube video so we know you're there. Feel free to ask questions over there on YouTube. Also, if you want to jump over from YouTube into the webinar, we'll post a link over there on how to join this webinar while it's live. And yeah, just ask questions. And Zach, are you the kind of person who wants me to kind of save questions to the end or interrupt you as we go and they come in? Do you have a preference?
Oh, feel free to interrupt. Yeah.
So you're an interrupter. Okay. People usually have a preference, but I can do it either style.
Right.
So we'll do that. Yeah, please ask questions so we can customize this so it adds the most value it can for you. But yeah, Zach, welcome. I'm so stoked that you know, you've already added a lot of value to the LifterLMS community. I've even pulled you in and asked favors to help me solve some problems people are having in our office hours mastermind call, stuff they're trying to do with Gravity Forms. Dale just posted his thing that he's going for there, so something to check out. But yeah, take it away. So
all right,
take it from the top. And maybe and one way to just start is if you could just, because I know this was a big like enlightenment thing for me when I was learning tech and WordPress and websites, is once I realized that a form is like fundamentally like the building block of a website or whatever, when that finally clicked for me, I'm like, oh, that's why they're so powerful. So like, can you bring us in like on that wedge?
Sure, I can try.
Yeah.
So,
So what's a
yeah,
form? And every
what
website
is a
needs one.
form?
Yeah.
A form is a way to collect data, and that could be any type of data that you have. So, a contact form. Uh, think of think of it as the components and break it down there. So when you have a contact form on a website, what is that? You're gathering a name, you're gathering an email address, you're gathering a phone number, and maybe like a comment box, right? So what do you do with that data once a form is submitted? In the old days, before Gravity Forms, the form would be submitted, you get an email sent to you. This person contacted you from this form, and that was that. You had to follow up. You didn't have any record other than your email. And then Gravity Forms came along with some lesser form builders. And
Mhm.
Gravity Forms allowed you to store those entries, those contacts in your website database. So they are no longer just ephemeral and no longer just an email. They get stored. So each field, the name field, gets stored in your database on your website. It becomes a file, let's say. Uh, you can upload files. People can upload images. All this stuff gets stored on your website, so you can come back and review it and say, okay, add notes to each entry, each contact entry, and say, okay, I followed up with this person, and you have a record of all this stuff that's happened instead of just the form submitting. Gravity Forms also connects to other services. So when you submit the form, when you push that button, instead of just an email, instead of just connecting to your website and having a list of all the contacts, you can say, hey, by the way, add this to Google Sheets and add that to have it turn on my HomeKit light bulb. You can do what you can do whatever you want. If you have a contact form where people can turn on and off your light bulbs in your house, that would probably get a little messy, but it's possible. So those submissions, a form, because it can be any sort of data, can be morphed into, okay, well, I am running this gym and I want people to have a way to track their reps and track the amount of mindful minutes that they have. Well, you may experience that currently as an app on your phone, but you can also integrate that sort of functionality on your website. And you do that by setting up a form and deciding, well, what kind of data am I trying to collect here? And what kind of information do I want to refer to later and see charts of and more deeply integrate and export. And that's the kind of thinking where a form can be anything you want. So what do you want the form to be? So with Gravity Forms, you collect the data and it's visible when you log into the back end of your website. When you log into the dashboard, when you go to log in on your WordPress site and you click log in, you can see the entries there. With Gravity View, you can take those entries and you can configure the fields that are visible so that only the fields you want to be public can be seen publicly. So it turns it from a tool for you, the site administrator, to a way to gather data from the public or from your users and display it to them or to the public and on your website. So it's not just gathering data for you, it's using the data for your site in a way that hadn't been possible before. So now instead of just submitting a form and having it be useful to the administrator, you're submitting a form and you're adding content to the site. Gravity View makes it so you can approve those entries before they're visible, so it's not just getting spammed, right? And Gravity View also, you can set up search tools so people can review the data that's submitted and it becomes a directory. So no longer is it just a contact form or a testimonial form that goes in and you have to copy and paste the testimonial onto a static page on your WordPress site. Now you can have the testimonial directly populate the testimonials page once you approve it. So Gravity View really turns Gravity Forms into an app builder. What kind of data do you want to gather and what kind of data do you want to display on your site? That's what Gravity View can help you do. So I hope that kind of gives an overview of what's a form and what's Gravity View and how does that kind of integrate it.
That's super, super cool. Thanks for doing that. And just a quick question. Somebody is asking, I kind of mentioned like I'm a Gravity Forms user. I've always been using it. But when somebody asks you how does Gravity Forms compare to whatever, they're referencing Ninja Forms in this case. How do you answer that question?
Sure. So Ninja Forms and Gravity Forms have been around for a long time. Ninja Forms, I believe, well, short answer, it comes down to preference, really. You can achieve similar things with both tools. Ninja Forms, I believe, is less cost effective if you are doing a powerful kit, like all the add-ons and integrations. From what I understand, it's less cost effective. I just love Gravity Forms and the ease of integrating and building on top of it as a third party. It's been very easy to do, and it really empowers a bunch of people to build on top of it. So I think the ecosystem around Gravity Forms is a lot stronger than the ecosystem around Ninja Forms, in my opinion. And I'm sure the Ninja Forms people might disagree, but that's my understanding, is that Gravity Forms has a lot more developer activity surrounding it. And one of the nice things is anytime you need anything customized with Gravity Forms, it's possible because they have tons of developer integration opportunities called hooks and filters. You can go in there and modify whatever you want. But B, you can go on a site like Codable.io and say, hey, I want to do this with Gravity Forms. And so many people have experience with Gravity Forms that finding a professional that can help you is really easy. And as a user, it's easy to use. And as a developer, it's easy to use. And their support is top notch. And I'm on Team Gravity View, obviously, or Gravity Forms, obviously. I am Team Gravity View, but Team Gravity Forms all the way.
Awesome.
So I was thinking that today I would show what Gravity View can do overall, and then I was going to show what Gravity View can do in the context of LifterLMS, and kind of break it down into those two sections to kind of give a tour of the Gravity View plugin, and then show how it can be integrated with Lifter.
Awesome. So no slideshow, we're going live.
Oh, slideshow. And for everybody out there, today is the big reveal day of a new Gravity View LifterLMS integration. So you will now be the first ones worldwide to be able to see this. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so can everybody, Chris, can you see the screen okay?
Yep, looks great. We got the form preview window.
Excellent.
WordPress, yep.
Okay, so you know how I was just talking about gathering the data and deciding what data to collect. That data can be collected by designing the form. And this is Gravity Forms edit form screen. And I'll make this a little bigger. So you can decide what fields to add to your form. And these are text fields and the paragraph text, address fields, the standard form fields. When you submit that information, in Gravity View, you can choose to display it in different ways, like a table. And you can choose which fields are visible. So those fields that you just saw in the form are now become columns in a table. And you can sort by those fields, and you can filter by those fields as well. So that only the industry is visible because I just sorted by it. And you can search, let's say we know the name of the business, you can search and find things easier. And then you can click through to a single entry and see additional details that were submitted that you didn't want to show on the public directory page. So you can have one view that is multiple entries all shown at once, and then you can really narrow down and say, okay, now that I found the one that I want, I can click through and see the details.
That's cool. So that's kind of like that. Before we hit record, we were talking about some use cases. You could use that for like a coach, certified coach directory type thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Gravity View, we actually developed Gravity View based on a client need 6 years ago. And the client was trying to create a directory of animal doctors. And those doctors wanted a way to show that they were certified, that they had done, that they completed the training, and wanted their contact details visible. So we created Gravity View to display the entry data that was collected with Gravity Forms.
Very
So
cool.
that's absolutely possible. So that's a table layout, and then you can use the same data to populate a different type of layout where it's more like a Yelp listing, where it has the name is up here and you have headings and additional text, and you have phone numbers that you can click and have it call directly using if they're on their mobile device, or they can go directly to the website by clicking website URLs. So this is all powered by the same data that you were just seeing being gathered in Gravity Forms. So what does that mean when it comes to LifterLMS? So LifterLMS, you have, one second, sorry.
I'm so excited for this because I see people do this all the time. They pass a course, like a certification course. And then if on the next lesson, if you're using the LifterLMS, like the last final lesson, you can only get there if you pass the test or whatever. And now you're a certified coach, you can input your listing for the coach directory or whatever. You've just made it all possible with no custom development.
No custom development at all. And you can have featured listings. So if people want to pay to have additional functionality shown in the directory,
wow,
that's all possible out of the box with Gravity View.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, this is why gravity is just so flexible, and combined with Gravity View, I mean, wow.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say you have a LifterLMS course, and in the course you've integrated with Gravity Forms, and you say you have a leadership lesson that has, let me see, edit lesson. The lesson has a Gravity Forms form in there that is part of your lesson assignments. So when you complete the lesson by submitting the form, you get to go to the next lesson. That data now can be used inside LifterLMS as well. So let's say you have a group assignment where people come up with creative ideas and or want to share, what's your spirit animal? Okay, you might want to get their juices flowing with some ideas. So you can show prior respondents on that lesson page. And let me show you what that would look like.
Oh,
so
like a group assignment, you said.
It's a group assignment idea, exactly. So this is a lesson where somebody already filled out the form about their type of leadership, and let's say this is a leadership course, and you watch the video.
I'm not sure we're still seeing the Gravity listing. Let's see.
Really? All right, let me try.
Yeah.
Let me try resharing.
Sorry, I didn't catch that earlier.
Okay, so are you able to see yourself on the video right now?
No.
Okay.
Maybe share all the windows, you know what I mean?
I'm going to share all the windows. Let's see. Is that better?
It's still just sharing. Did you stop sharing?
No. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, everybody.
Don't worry about it. There's always something.
Okay,
there we go.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know. That would have been bad. Okay, so you have a leadership lesson and you watch a video of Chris giving an excellent talk, and you get inspired and you learn about different types of leadership, and you say, oh man, this is great. And then whoever created the lesson and the course says, okay, well, synthesize what you've learned and share it with the rest of us. Okay. Well, you can do that by embedding a Gravity Forms form in your lesson, and you can have that be part of the assignment that gets completed. So and this is the form being embedded in the lesson. This is the lesson. We're editing the lesson right here. With Gravity View, you can choose to share specific entries by students in the same lesson by embedding your Gravity View shortcode. And we're about to release Gutenberg blocks as well. So what I've done is I've embedded a Gravity View shortcode that shows approved submissions from that form. So now it's not just completing the lesson and moving to the next assignment, it's being part of the lesson itself. So here's a response from that form where somebody refers to the lesson and fills out the form, and the form had what's your leadership type and what are the thoughts about the lesson. So how do you, what does this look like in the back end, and how do you see what, how do you use this? Okay. We can look at the entries. Sorry, I've got a lot of windows going on.
And while you're grabbing that, Atara was asking a question about there might be a problem with confidentiality. I think one example I just threw out there is like, if you're ever collecting a testimonial or a review, like add a checkbox where they agree to you being able to use it for marketing purposes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Gravity Forms has a built-in consent field that can be checked, and that will take care of that as well. And I'm about to show you how to get around the big issue, which is, okay, so what if this is private? What if you only want to show people's entries to themselves? And I will show you how to do that. So here's, in Gravity Forms, we've collected the data from the form. And the form that I'm talking about is just leadership type is a text field, and share your thoughts about a lesson, it's another text field. In the back end, there have been multiple submissions. Only one of them has been approved, and that's the one that you just saw. So I, as the site administrator, see these other ones coming in as students complete the lesson. I say, okay, I like this. I'm going to approve this one for visibility site-wide. So I go back to the lesson, I refresh, and there you go. You have another entry that's visible now.
So there's a layer of moderation. Like if somebody comes in on your testimonial and talks about is like spamming it or something, it doesn't have to automatically come through.
It doesn't have to, and it's not by default automatically shown. You can choose to show everything. Like let's say you have a form that's embedded on a members only site, only members are going to be submitting it. You don't have to worry about moderation. You can choose to not moderate that. So you have responses here, and normally if you hadn't filled out the form, it would be showing here underneath. But I've already taken the lesson, unfortunately. Okay, so great. That's all in the lesson, but what about site-wide? What about overall? What about an overview? Well, LifterLMS has a student dashboard, and Gravity View now has a world premiere LifterLMS integration called My Form Entries. And these are the entries that I have submitted. And you can visit the link directly to the lesson where you submitted the entry in.
Ooh, that's cool. So this kind of ties into what Dale's question was about. Like we have a table here, but what else? I mean, forms are flexible. What else can you jog some creativity? Like what else?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they could be upload. They could be pictures, right? Like.
Oh, sure. So this is, I'm doing the table just for ease of display, because without having to get too specific. But I'm happy to show all the different types of things you can do. So that's my form entries. I'll show you real quickly how that works in LifterLMS. This is the new integration. We've added a tab to integrations, and you can see Gravity View here. And you can say only show student entries. So what I forgot to say there in that demo was that the visibility was limited to only the student's own entries. So on the lesson, I embedded this one, which is all entries, all of them being
Oh,
approved. And then on the dashboard for the student, I only wanted the students to be shown. So in the view, these are the fields that I wanted to show. And I said only show if they're created by the currently logged in user. So that addresses the privacy concern that was asked earlier. Like, how do you make this not a privacy issue?
wow. Love seeing that. This is, I can just see so many different ways to use this. This is really cool.
Yeah, so if you want to say not my form entries, but my meditation record, I don't know, record seems a little formal for meditation, but you can refresh and you can see my meditation record. And instead, this could be, my meditation, how many minutes. You can integrate with Gravity GF chart, which is nice. It's a Gravity Forms add-on that can show entries as a chart. So you can show your minutes per, over time on a timeline.
Wow.
So that's LifterLMS integration, very standard because of the table layout. But what about what funky things can you do with Gravity View? Let's get funky here. All right, let's say you want to collect what movies you've watched. This is powered by Gravity View and our DIY layout. So if you know HTML, if you know CSS, and you say, I just want to show Gravity Forms entries and I don't want to have to worry about it, I just kind of want a loop, and where for each entry, show this HTML. In Gravity View, you can do that. And it's a matter of adding that you want the movie poster. It's an upload field, like an image field. You can configure the HTML, and you can say, this is getting a bit technical, but you can customize fully the type of HTML that's displayed for each entry, and you can say you can show any of the field data, and you can see that the name of the film and the year of the film are right here. And if you click in additional information like the genre and who it's directed by and the rating on IMDb, for example, could be visible. So this is using masonry. So it automatically will resize based on the size of the screen. And let me show the form that is connected to that, where it has the movie ratings and it has an upload field for the movie poster. So if you wanted to add a new movie, you could do that by going to the form, filling out the form, and it'll automatically be added to Gravity View when it's approved.
So if I was doing like a fitness training course and you're supposed to like take a selfie, type in the mileage or whatever, like you could like, and then it would start building out this like workout history. You could
Sure. So, and you can take that one form and you can make a bunch of views out of it. So let's say you would just want a selfie gallery on one page. You can make a view that only shows the images and an inspirational quote of the moment, where like, I'm killing it. I'm feeling really good. And then you can have another view that's data-based and says, okay, well, how many reps did you do that day? What did you eat? You can connect multiple views together. So you can have one form that gathers your workout history, one form that gathers your food history, and you can combine them on a common field, where the common field could be your email or your user ID, something like that. So you can create views that have all that data all in one place.
We got another question. This is different. This is where like, what if a coach is like, let's say I'm a coach and I have a website and I'm taking notes when I do my coaching calls, like one-on-one coaching calls, and I want those notes, that data to show up in the dashboard for that coaching client. Is there a way to make
Sure.
that happen where it's not student submitted, but like website
Oh,
owners?
absolutely. Yeah. So any form, so you can nest forms inside views, inside forms, inside views. Like you can create these powerful applications. So anything where you say, I have a form and I want to display this. Yes, you can do that. So as a coach, you can do that. You can have one form where only certain fields are visible to the coach and other fields are visible to the student.
Like review my
So
call or something, or yeah.
yeah, so like you can use one form and have two different layouts for two different people that are only visible to the different people that they're supposed to be. And you know, they would never see each other. You would never see theirs and they would never see yours.
And
And we have
one
a
note,
lot of people in education where the student submits a form for their end of year art project, right? Then the professors, there are a whole group of a committee of professors that come and say, okay, let's review this final project and see whether or not this passes and whether the student graduates. So you have one student submitting an entry and you have tens of professors that are coming and saying, okay, I like this. I think the student should go forward. And that would be the student submits the form that gets shown in Gravity View. Inside that, there's another form where all the professors submit their feedback.
okay.
So that's absolutely a common use case where you connect two different forms together with Gravity
That's amazing. And you're getting some all caps, awesome exclamation.
View. All caps is what I like to see.
There's
Awesome.
also another comment, which I think we both know the answer to, but if I wanted to, then somebody submits the form, can I connect it to Infusionsoft through WP Fusion? And Gravity Forms has a WP Fusion, or WP Fusion integrates with Gravity Forms. So
Yeah.
regardless of whether you're using Gravity View or not, you're covered there, right?
Yep, absolutely. And Zapier. And I made the Infusionsoft plugin. I no longer control it, but I developed the Gravity Forms Infusionsoft plugin. So
Oh, wow.
that's out there too. Yeah. So yeah, you can do anything you want with Gravity Forms. Can I connect Gravity Forms to XYZ? Yes, absolutely. I guarantee there's a way to do a connection from Gravity Forms to pretty much anything.
What about like sometimes I see coaching people, they do something in the beginning where they have courses and coaching and they need to get the client to sign something, and I know Gravity Forms has that signer thing. Can you
Yeah,
get like can Gravity View display that? Like a
absolutely.
sign form?
So Gravity Forms has a signature field.
Yeah.
I believe they also integrate with DocuSign, I think.
Okay.
Um, so, but regardless, they have a signature field, and Gravity View can show the signature field as well. And Gravity View, you can hide content based on the type of submission. So if one radio button in a form is checked, show this stuff. And if this other thing is checked, show this other stuff. So you can really build a dynamic output based on the form that's being filled out. So if you have different levels of courses or different, I don't know, you can really customize what Gravity View shows and cater it to the audience that is building.
Wow, that's super cool. I want to ask Dale is Dale still with us? Dale, what kind of data would you want to display? I'm just curious. Like, is it like just like a checkbox that I did something, or like a time, or what? I'm just curious. But go ahead, Zach. I was just asking there.
Yeah, so that's I'd love to take questions and because like, can I do this or how would I do this? I'm here to answer any questions that people might have, and I can even show a live demo if that's something that somebody would like to know.
So Dale, it looks like Dale was looking for like I did the meditation or the practice. Like I basically completed it. Like, so for example, somebody could like check it off and then have a timestamp or something that it happened, or
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. So when you're coming up with an idea for how to do something in Gravity Forms and Gravity View, the question of what fields, what data do you want to collect?
Yeah.
It comes up. And so when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking at Dale's question. He says, each week I have 3 exercises I want them to do daily. So my thought was creating 3 activities to practice more hands-on what was trained in the high level. Okay. So, and then he asked about the leaderboard to improve competitive nature. So that I'm not sure which that would require a different structure. I'm not sure exactly how that would be done, the leaderboard. Yes, and Samantha just asked, where are the videos to learn how all the capabilities? We have very few channels, very few videos on our YouTube channel. Sorry about that. We have a lot of written documentation, Samantha, but not as many videos, and I'm aware that we need to expand that, and we'll be working on that. In terms of Dale's question for meditation, let me show you, let me think out loud using Gravity Forms and Gravity View, and I'll show you what I'm thinking. All right, let me know if you can see the screen.
Yeah, we got it. You were in the fields or the form.
Okay, so I'm going to do this in my LifterLMS demo site. So I'm going to be creating a new form. It's called mindfulness.
Did you buy a LifterLMS demo site?
I did.
You guys just asked for one.
It's a great deal. $1 30-day demo. That's excellent. Yeah. So mindfulness form. So when I'm thinking about this, I say, okay, there are multiple different things that I want checked off. So I'm thinking, okay, I want the checkboxes field that Gravity Forms offers. So I add a checkboxes field to the form. And I can say, okay, the first thing I want them to do is to sit still for 5 minutes. Not even meditate, just sit down, not look at a phone. Don't look at your phone. That's a good checkbox, right?
Yeah.
And then be conscious of your breath for 5 minutes. So this is not a good list, but it's a pretty good starter. Okay. So
and by the way, I just want to say, Dale, if you want to come up live, you can raise your hand and we can, we can talk if you want. It's totally up to you. Just let us know.
So meditation checklist. So what Dale also wants to know is, how you can show that this happens daily. There are different ways you can limit the number of entries per day, or number of entries a form total. So I'm thinking, okay, Gravity Forms already captures when the entry was created, so I don't need to worry about that. The person's going to be logged in, I assume, when they're creating this entry, so I don't need to add username, name fields, emails. I don't need any of that because Gravity Forms will already know when the user's logged in. So that's not necessary. All right, well, what if they wanted to add, a picture, like a selfie, a meditation selfie? That's nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that by adding a file upload field.
And just so I understand real quick, can you use the same form over and over? You don't have to be like cloning this form a million times?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. But you said you could also limit it, like if it was a free course and you had a spam problem or something, you could be like, hey, this can only fire once a day, right?
Yep. So Gravity Perks is another third-party developer for Gravity Forms, and Gravity Perks has great ways to limit the number of entries per day per person. So Gravity Forms, and I'll show this soon, but first let me limit the file uploads to JPEG, PNG, and what is it?
SVG.
Anyway, SVG. anyway, you can limit the type of uploads. So, people who are doing mindfulness can't upload zip files. All right, so we've got a form now. You can preview it. Looks good. Checklist, boop, 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 and upload a picture of myself meditating. Here in the form settings, we can go down to limit number of entries. And you can say per day.
Cool.
1 per day. But this is global for the form, not per user. And that's where the Gravity Perks third-party add-on would come in. And you can say only show this form for the month of August, mindful month. And you can say only show it to logged in users, even if it's a public page.
So if you wanted to send an email to your students, you're like, the first 20 people to leave a review, you're going to get like whatever bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Gravity Forms is an awesome way to do the giveaways like that.
Yeah.
And Gravity View, you can set up to display those submissions. So if people submit tweets, you can use Gravity View to display those embedded tweets.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's say we want only 1 entry per day, and you want entry limit reached. Great job, you've done it. All right, let's take a look at the form. Do the checkboxes. We haven't required the file field, so I'm just going to submit it now. And this is the default confirmation, but we can edit that if we wanted to. And I think because it's on the admin, it won't show the message, but let's see. Oh, it does show the message. Great job, you've done it. All right. Okay, so we have that data, right? We have the entry now from the mindfulness minutes. Let's create a view to show that submission. And let's create a table view, because tabular data, it's a time series is tabular. And we can choose what fields to show. So I'm going to choose to show the meditation checklist. But you know what? Meditation checklist will show the 3 checkboxes, one after the other. I want to show them as each a column, because they're pretty cool to show that you did each one of these. And let's say what date. You can click to add the entry date. And I want to show the date format as, I'll leave it as the default, so you can see what that looks like. So, no entries match your request. Well, why not? It's because I didn't approve them. They are not yet approved. So what I'm going to do here is either go to permissions, or go to view settings, show only approved entries is checked. So I'm going to uncheck that and update. And going to refresh, and there you go.
That's exactly what he was looking for.
Nice. So, okay, the next step. So I'm the coach. I'm mindfulness coach. I want to leave notes and say, give positive affirmations, give feedback. I can add a table column, search for the entry notes option.
So this is the form within the view you were talking about.
This is like the easy way to do that. Okay. Yes, there's an actual way to embed a form, which is also another way to do it, like embed a Gravity form inside each entry.
Oh, I see. I see. You're adding the notes right there.
This is entry notes.
Yeah.
Similar to the Gravity Forms functionality. So you can configure to display the notes publicly or not, or only allow adding the notes. So this is powerful. Just powerful, but I'm not going to go into it in detail right now. If you go back to the live site, refresh, you can see the entry notes here, and see one of the entry notes is that Gravity Forms sent the email properly. I'm going to add a note that says Great job meditating. I miss the picture. Frowny face.
Nice.
And then if you refresh, that's there. And yeah, so that can be, you can kind of see how a coach might use this, and this would be emailed to be, by default, if the form has an email field, it will be emailed to that email address. You can choose to hard code in the email address and say email to Zach, and say email subject, me meditating.
Very
There
cool.
we go.
And by the way, I just want to mention to Tara and anybody who's watching this, if you're anything like me, it's really taken me a long time to figure out like forms and the power and like how to put all this together. And you can always get some help with this. Like Zach mentioned Codable earlier. We'll put a link to Codable in the chat. And there's also the LifterLMS experts. We have a page there. Like if you're liking what you're seeing, but it feels a little like, I'm not sure if I can put all this together. First of all, this isn't a bunch of code. This is like configuring plugins and whatever. But if you want a more techie person to do it, there are tons of resources out there. And any WordPress freelancer worth their salt is going to know their way around Gravity forms and that kind of thing. So help is out there if you don't want to figure it out yourself. I know, at least in my early days as a WordPress person, I would get really excited about this, but then I might need some help getting it set up.
Sure, and seeing all this functionality and all the different options, and I'm clicking around and I'm just doing things. I apologize for doing it so quickly. It's been a while since I've given a demo, and I need to slow down, so I apologize for that. But yes, our support team is absolutely, we're here to help you every day of the week, well, except for weekends, but like every work day. We have 2 people who are dedicated support staff, and they're here to help. That's all they do is answer questions about, well, how do I do this? And we can help log on and say, well, this is one thing you can do to achieve your goal. So our goal, like LifterLMS, is trying to democratize learning. We're trying to democratize what you can do with Gravity Forms entries and how to display those on the website. So we want to make sure that whatever your usage is, that Gravity View is set up properly for you. And we have a 30-day guarantee. So just, if you try Gravity View, get in touch with our support right away and say, this is what we're trying to do. And we're going to be helping you all along that way.
I got another use case for you that I'm pretty excited
Sure.
about asking you about. There's a feature I've wanted in LifterLMS for about 4 or 5 years. And I think after talking to you today and just really seeing Gravity View and just learning more about it and understanding forms, a lot of training is typically designed around like a result. And just to be really like generic about it, if we look at a business course, it might be about making more money. If we're doing a health course, it might be about losing weight. If we're doing a relationships course, it might be like how satisfied are we with our marriage or our partner or whatever. If we're sort of like the form you just shows where we're updating it over time, let's use the business example. If I was teaching something that's designed to like take somebody from 0 to $100,000 or something like that, and we wanted them to be like, as they're going through the course or the coaching program, to be updating like their metrics, like, okay, sweet, how much you make this week or this month, and then see that kind of evolve over time. Or
Sure.
like we're monitoring weight loss or something. So when we have this like behavior change or this results-based learning, how do we, any thoughts on how to do that? And maybe use the money example one. Because a lot of courses make bold promises like, hey, this course will take you from 6 to 7 figures or whatever. But like, if we want to visually make it easy for the tracking to be part of the training and also to visualize that data, ideally on the student dashboard, like you just showed, which is amazing. How do we do that?
Right.
Because it's evolving over time, right?
Right. So with GF chart is the charting plugin I recommend for Gravity Forms, and
Mhm.
GF chart would be great for that, where you can show pie charts for how satisfied are you. Like if you're the course creator, you can see visual representations of those kind of polls and see, well, 80% of my people that take this course are very satisfied with the relationship. Great.
Nice. So you
In
can look
terms
at
of business,
you can visualize that data in
you can
aggregate.
visualize that data. Yep.
Wow.
And
Not just for
so
per user, but per group. Or
overall, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So you can
Wow.
do it per user and per group. They integrate with Gravity View. And that's the thing about Gravity Forms. We all integrate with each other. You can export everything as PDF using Gravity PDF. Like it's all great.
That's cool.
So for like a business use case, Gravity View has a math plugin where you can sum and you can perform mathematical calculations on the entry data. So you can say, okay, for all of the submissions by this user, add up to $1.2 million. And you can show that number at the top. You can embed that number wherever you want. So that's,
So they could like go, you could, I see what you, so you could output it like even like in giant on the homepage just to
oh
keep them
yeah, no,
motivated,
make
like
it big.
whether it's weight loss or whatever.
Yeah,
That's wow, man. I might need to get busy with this. Um, Dale's asking about um, weighted answers to multiple choice questions. Um,
you can do that with Gravity Forms.
yeah.
Let me see. Or yes, you can go. They have a Gravity Forms quiz add-on, and they have weighted answers as part of that tool.
What's an example of where you would use that? I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around it.
So, like in a math quiz, for example, there might be one question that's more important than another question, and you
Oh,
can
okay.
say,
Yeah.
if the student understands this, then that's far more important than if they understand that. I think that's an example of a weighted question, though. It's been a while.
LifterLMS Dale also has weighted quiz questions.
Hmm.
Um, so, but definitely check out the Gravity version too. They might have something you need. Where do you rank your business? I'm not sure if I got the question. Oh, like a Likert scale, maybe like on a scale of 1 to 10. I mean, is there a Gravity Forms type for that or something? I guess
Yeah,
you could.
there is. That's a survey add-on.
Yeah.
So I use Gravity Forms for, oh man, what's it called? NPS, Net Promoter Score. So I
Yeah.
use Gravity Forms for my Net Promoter Score survey, where depending on how they rate their experience with Gravity View, it performs different actions. If they rate it badly, I want to know. If they rate it well, I want to know all the ratings actually. But
Yeah.
it has different follow-up sequences for my customers based on their ratings. So if they say it wasn't good, I add them to a list of in my backend that says, okay, well, why, please tell me more. Can we set up a call? That sort of thing. And if my customers rate Gravity View well, it goes to the testimonial flow, and I want to make sure that we capture their feedback, and we can follow up with them for case studies and things like that. So that's powered by Gravity Forms, and then Gravity View can show that data.
Nerd alert here. I need to do that for LifterLMS. I need to really get the NPS thing done. Is it possible by chance to, maybe you don't know, we're both friends of WP Fusion here, but can you take a customer's NPS and pass it through WP Fusion? Like, for example, I use ActiveCampaign so I'm like, oh, if I'm checking
Yes,
in
you
on
can.
somebody, like you can. Okay.
Yes. And you
Okay.
can say, you can tag customers based on their feedback and say, Net Promoter Score is a theory behind feedback that says on a scale of 0 to 10, the people who are 8, 9, and 10 are your most valuable like promoters of your product. 7 and 6 are really neutral, I think, and then everybody else doesn't like your product, I think is the gist.
Yeah.
So you can tag them with doesn't like the product, neutral, or promoter.
Detractors, I think they're called. The bot.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can tag them in whatever active campaign or whatever.
Yeah. That's super cool. And I think Dale's offering some clarifying stuff here.
Hmm.
And maybe you know this, but maybe unlike a quiz where there's a right and a wrong question, or a certain question has more weight, what about are you aware of people doing stuff where there's like a certain answers provide points? So for example, like there's not a right or wrong answer, but you know, answer A, you get 5 points, answer B, you get 4 points, and so on. And at the
Sure.
end, somehow we're like using that to calculate a.
Yeah. Gravity Forms can do that. And
Wow.
Gravity View can do that too. Like what character from Friends are you, that sort of thing. Based
Well,
on
that's
the
a personality.
scores.
Can you do a personality test with
I'm
gravity?
sure you can, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that you can assign different values to different answers. So Gravity Forms has a checkbox that says enable values, I think it's called. And you can say, for this text choice, it has this numeric value.
That's awesome.
And then you can add it up and do things with it after. Yeah.
And could you speak to, because it's just come up on some other calls, the multiple forms filling out one singular giant view? So like if
Yeah.
we're going through a training, and through the training we're entering little pieces of data through forms, and then by the end we have some giant document or that like is assembling all that. Is that possible?
Yeah, so I spoke earlier about how you can have like workout data and food data, and you can merge it in one view. Um, you can also just
Like you can build your own dashboard, like of your something. Like a dashboard is another way to say it. Like
yeah,
maybe you're filling out like a, you know, the what's that thing? The business model canvas. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah,
But there's like maybe lesson 1 we look at our target market, lesson 2 we look at our whatever, and then it ultimately spits out a view of like our business.
sure. Yeah, you can do things like that. Like, okay, so you have a form that says what's your quarterly target,
Yeah.
uh, and you have different questions based on your business. And you can have that form be entered each quarter for planning your future quarter. And then using Gravity View, you could show that in a dashboard. As long as you know CSS to lay it out nicely, you can just show those one after another. Each entry can be displayed as one of those business dashboard charts.
Wow. That was super cool. That was super cool. Man, I'm excited. How old is Gravity View? How long have you been around?
We've been around since, actually, we're coming, I need to start planning for the birthday. We're
Yeah,
turning 6 years old on July 24th.
that's awesome. So you're like 3 years older than LifterLMS, or not 3 months older than, because
Oh, nice.
we started in October of 2014. So
Nice.
I think you went a little early, came early.
Okay, Chris. So here, this little buddy up here, his name's Floaty.
Yeah,
What's your astronaut's name?
we don't have a name for him.
You don't have a name for your astronaut?
No.
Well, Floaty needs a named friend.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, that's super cool. Well, anything else while we're here? Anything else to share, or words for the people?
um, you know, let us know what you need. Because when it comes to form gathering, Gravity Forms I recommend, and when it comes to displaying data, Gravity View, LifterLMS, you can do so much with LifterLMS, and Gravity View, from what I've seen with coming up with integrating with Gravity with LifterLMS, Gravity View can fill in a lot of those gaps where you say, I want to do this with LifterLMS, but it's not quite available. It's you have assignments, you have courses, you have lessons, you have things like that. Gravity View can kind of paste in those little pieces and complete that application for all the people who are building out LMS solutions for their needs. So Gravity View, check with our support. We're a bunch of people who are interested in coming up with solutions that that make your website work better and make your life easier, because that's the goal of having a website.
I think that's fantastic. And I heard, I mean, my technical co-founder partner, Thomas, I don't know how many times he would say, yeah, that's just a form. That's just a form. And then we got to do something with the data. Like, so once you really get it, like, I mean, there's just no end to what you can do. And an LMS, WordPress LMS website is a web application. It's not just a static content site. And part of what makes an application is, the interaction between, the user and the site creator or other users and whatever. That interaction, and forms are like the bridge between all that stuff. And yeah, it's cool.
And I'm hearing from the chat that part of the problem that I'm not addressing well enough, and Gravity View website and our videos aren't either, is explaining the possibilities and kind of showing what could be possible. So I'm going to get to work on that and make sure that that we have a video series that shows, here's what our customers are doing and here's what's possible. Because
and we also might be able to work on a joint piece of content, because I kind of know where course creators and coaches are going, and then I think we could collaborate on something and come up with something pretty good.
That'd be great. Well, and Gravity View is working on Gravity Camp, which is a new website that's powered by LifterLMS, where people have courses and learn how to do different things with Gravity View. So we're working on the more content and more videos for Gravity Camp, but they're also still kind of more of the basics and not like, let's explore what's possible. So let's do some more exploring.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, it's like Kathy just drew the winner. We got Kevin Lal. You're the winner of the 1 year of the $99 LifterLMS add-on. So there's a message in the chat for you. Please email us at team@lifterlms.com and we'll hook you up with your winners. You're winning.
Nice.
I wanted to thank you, Zach, for coming. I'm so glad I think I first met Zach at a WordPress conference a couple years ago. And I had seen you on the internet or whatever. I'm glad our paths crossed, and now here we are collaborating.
You too. And I look forward to seeing, I'm a really tall guy. Chris is a really tall guy. If you see tall people at a future WordCamp, when we're able to do that again, just come say hi, and I'd love to help. Chris is an awesome guy. So
I appreciate it. And you're actually very tall. How tall are you, Zach?
6'8".
Okay, I'm 6'2". Zach's 6'8". So if you see the conference, you can't.
Don't be scared. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Zach, thank you very much for coming. Everybody who's watching this, if you need any of the links we put in the chat, go ahead and grab those, because we're going to be closing this out. We will put the replay of this in our webinar training area. So you'll be able to reference this again. I want to thank everybody for coming. Kathy, thanks for helping put this on, and Zach, appreciate you doing that. I didn't even know before this call we had a new LifterLMS integration on the map. This is the beauty of the WordPress community, and this is what's cool about coming over from hosted LMS or course platforms, or even like we were talking about personality quizzes and stuff. You can buy expensive software that does all this, that charges you a monthly fee, but it's not flexible. You can't start combining it, or bring in somebody to like tweak it just a little bit to make it perfect. Like this is
we have a customer who's saving $30,000 a year by using Gravity Forms, Gravity View, WordPress instead of a hosted solution. That they just rip people off. And if you are paying too much for a hosted solution, check out what you can do with WordPress instead. It's amazing.
I see that we have a testimonial like that. Somebody's like, I can't believe what I can do with the Infinity Bundle. So I was getting quotes for $30,000 or whatever. Like it's I mean, yeah, WordPress is a little harder to drive and it comes with a little more responsibility, but you know, when you get the right tools together, and it's amazing what you can do.
Yep, and you're not locked in.
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, Zach, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody watching, and thank you, Kathy.
All right. Well, have a good day, everybody. And Zach, I might send you another Slack just so we can chat separately and talk about your integration. And
Nice.
everybody, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.